All right, hello and welcome to TLDR.Finance. And today, a little late, of course, being December 31st today, but I'm getting started, and at least I'm doing it. Okay, it's not the January 27th, but some year-end preparation that I like to do around my finances and kind of the adult stuff that I put off for a good chunk of the year until now, because I've got time with the holidays. And also, it's not that fun, but it is stuff that kind of needs to happen. And even some of it's on autopilot all year, so you don't necessarily need to do it. But today we're going to talk about our year-end preparation, some of the things I'm looking at and reviewing or allocating funds to in the year end. So here's the list. So TLDR, go through all these things, and you're good to go. See you later. Appreciate the time for checking out the video. But a bit more information on these corporate business retirement accounts. So these are things like if you're working for a firm, this is your 401k. Just making sure, probably sometime in early December, probably even better in November on this one, because of the lag time of when they can adjust your paycheck and deductions for it. If you're trying to max out your 401k for the year at 19,500 this year, checking on that, making sure if you need to do a little bit more percentage wise, or even some firms allow for up to 50% or even 100% of your paychecks can go to a 401k. So you can really adjust that the last couple of weeks or even month and a half or so before the year end so that they can do that and you can hit your goal regarding the if you wanted to maximize your 401k at work. The business retirement accounts, if you own your own business, there are a couple of things that need to happen before the end of the year. Work with your accountant, your CPA for sure, because there are some asterisks and some special occurrences or special cases on this. But for the most part, it's always easier to just get it done before the end of the year so that you have the timestamp of 2020 on these contributions. But things like your SEP IRA and your simple IRAs or your solo 401ks, if you have those set up with your running your own business, you have a business that you have those particular accounts. Those can range anywhere from 19,500 just to do a simple 401k contribution, but since you're also the employer, you can do up to 57,000 a year for that and the SEP IRA. Simple IRAs are a little bit less. You're down to about 12,000, 13,500 for 2020. And SEP IRAs, of course, have 25%, 20 to 25% of your total income or total revenue compensation can be deducted for that. So again, work with the accountants, but ultimately those are things you want to start looking at and getting a check written or your paycheck deducted sooner than later, because some of those you can't. It's pretty set in stone that you can't do those in 2021. So next big one, health savings accounts. I don't know about you guys, but I usually have one of these set up through work, and it's just kind of taking out 50 bucks, 25 bucks, whatever it is, a paycheck, and I don't want to perfectly set it to be 27.27 dollars and 36 cents to get the exact maximum for the year. So I usually have a true up contribution that I do sometime in December just to make sure I get every possible bit into that for the tax savings, but also because eventually I'm sure I'll be old and decrepit and need a bunch of medical things, and I'd love this account to be as big and healthy as possible so that it can pay for all those, and it's not an extra burden on me. Max contribution for health savings accounts this year for single is 3550, for families 7100. Student loan interest. So you can deduct up to $2,500 a year on student loan interest. And I'm fairly certain that you have to have this contribution made in the year that you're trying to deduct it. So not really something you can pay off in January, February, March before tax time in April, and still get the credit for 2020 taxes. So making sure you make that payment sometime in 2020. Usually sometime in December is about when I tend to remember about it and do it. Or any extra payments. Obviously, this is another thing that you can have set on autopilot. You're paying your whatever amount, a couple $100, a couple $1,000 a month, depending upon the size of your student loans. And so you may not need to really do anything here, but just checking on it, making sure you're getting that deduction. Tax loss harvesting. So if you're investing or you have investment accounts that are taxable, so non-retirement accounts, then looking to potentially, again, working with your accountant or your tax specialist, If you have some big gains in the accounts, or if you have some big losses in the accounts, it might be worthwhile to take a look at this, to potentially save you some money and some tax issues later on from those gains with the losses today. Another thing, a common thing a lot of people do is they will kind of true up their accounts. They'll kind of go flat, or they'll sell the losers in December, trying to get an extra tax hit for the year, but then buying them back, even just a week into the new year. That is going to violate what's called the wash sale rule. So we'll do a more in-depth video on this. This is a very common thing that upsets and gets a lot of phone calls to the different financial firms that I've worked at, and it just really upsets people. And it's not vague, but it's a lot of fine print that can be a little confusing. So we'll go into that more. But ultimately, you need to wait 61 days if you sell the position and you want to buy it back and still be able to claim the the tax benefits of that. So 61 days, short and sweet for that. Property taxes, of course. If you've got your mortgage set up, you probably already are getting money escrowed to pay property taxes on things like your house. If you have a couple of cars, mine is a bit or was a bit older, so it was like $50 a year or something. So that was right about now is when I'm getting the notice for it. I pay the $50 on it. The house one's taken care of by the escrow. And then yes, and just again, good time to you've got the time. You're probably done with being around family. You've got time to yourself. Great time to kind of look through things. Homeowners Association, mine's done on a yearly basis in the neighborhood that I live in, so I get a check right about the time I get my property tax request um, from the government, from the state, and the city. I also get my homeowners association for it, so great time to write the check from that as well. Um, Roth IRA traditionals. So I mentioned these just because it's good to start thinking about it. These don't have as much of a hard and set date. You can contribute to these for 2020 up until your completed tax return for 2020. So right all the way up until April 15th. Even further if you get your accountant or yourself to extend or request an extension. But in March 25th of 2021, I can still contribute the full amount in a Roth or a traditional. It's not and, either or, um, for 2020 and 2021 if I wanted to do 12 grand right then in March. So that's not a thing, but it is something to be preparing for, because who's got 6 grand if you want to do the whole lump sum. Maybe you've got some extra money lying around for the year. If you're one of those crazy people that just saves really well, budgets really well, the holidays didn't burn the budget, and you've just got some extra money, you're not quite sure what to do with it. This is a good thing to start thinking about for next year, or even to make sure you max it out for this year. The next three can kind of all be rolled into one, just reviewing everything that you have. So I'm not a big budgeter, but I do have, Mint set up. And even if you don't put a ton of effort into making sure it's 100% correct, if you link everything to it and then run through the transactions at the year end, ideally at the end of each month, but at the year end at least, just to see, make sure you're not getting charged for some, fee. My parents yesterday said they were getting charged $75 for Lord knows how long, at least a year, for some service that is now debunked, I believe. And so, but still, they didn't know, they didn't look, and things like that, right? Those are just the parasitic fees and costs that can really add up, right? $75. Luckily it was hopefully only a year, maybe two, but that at a conservative interest rate of 4, 5, 6%. God forbid you're trading, you could be even making even more on that, and all of a sudden now it's a painful misuse of money. Same with credit card review. Make sure you're not getting charged anything extra, or some things snuck by. Most credit card companies have a year-end statement to review to make it a little easier. This is also something I would do on a quarterly basis, monthly basis, something like that throughout the year, just because way better to catch a recurring fee that you forgot. You didn't shut off your Spotify. You use your friend's Netflix, so you're still getting charged your own old Netflix account. Things like that, again, can add up. Real simple. Call them up, cancel them, what have you. An insurance review. So your home, your autos, any personal property, if you have a business, even if your situation hasn't changed, insurance rates changed all the time, right? People are living longer, people are being better on the roads, houses are getting built better or worse, depending upon what it is. So just review it. It might be nothing, but usually it's not much effort of you. You call up your local State Farm guy or whoever it is, or a buddy of yours, hey, run me a quote real quick. Most of their systems is maybe 5 minutes to get you a basic quote back, and then from there you can decide, okay, do I need to do more for it? And it could be, especially if you've got a couple cars, a house, maybe two houses, a vacation home, some personal property stuff. You're talking about a couple $100, if not more, a year that you could be saving on that. And finally, yearly goals. So a lot of my goals for the year, that's what my little board is here. Oh, here we go. A lot of mine are usually financially related, just because money's how I keep track of a lot of things. It's the metric that's easiest to track. Um, and so I kind of wrote my yearly goals in here as well, reviewing last year's goals. Did I hit them? Did I miss them? Were they just not goals of mine that I really cared about? I actually had salsa dancing on my goal here, and I'm not real sure why I did it. I think I was just like, oh, let's throw something fun that's not business or money related. And it's been a lot of fun. I actually just started it like in Thanksgiving, so it was really late in the year, but it's been a blast ever since. I've been going every week. And so things like that, review it, and then also start setting your goals for next year, or at least start writing them down. I usually create my goals for 2021 in the first or second week of January, but now is a great time reviewing the old ones, doing the new ones. You're already staring at all your financial numbers, your budgets, and that sort of thing. So, yeah. Hope you appreciate this kind of stuff. I'd love to just do little one-offs here and there, and then of course dive into things that have more depth to them, like the wash sale rule, maybe even more into health savings accounts versus FSAs. Of course, all the different corporate retirement accounts and that, and just really help you out in any way you can. So definitely leave me a like, or leave me some comments. Press the like button, or destroy it, as some of my favorite financial content creators say. And until next time, thank you.